and joining me today is Alice Thomson, Project Manager at TalenTV. Alice, welcome.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
The internal reception of a new system is absolutely crucial for a successful launch. Can you tell me why is it so important to properly communicate your launch internally?
It's absolutely critical. First of all, of course, you've invested a lot of money and resource to put a system in place. So, of course, for people to then use it in the way that you envision that they will is incredibly important to fulfill your KPIs, to get return on that investment. And of course, there is a reason why you are making this change is because, there are challenges, issues, or you need to just, keep up with the times and develop the way you do things. And so you obviously need people to be on board with that. So once you do go live, they're all ready and hopefully excited about the new system. So launch is everything for that. And that work begins, in fact, even before you make a choice of what software you're going to go with, that work starts when you first have the idea that you need to change. I think if you don't start thinking about it until maybe closer to go live, there's a very high risk that people are not ready for this change. And as we know, change is always challenging, even if it's a good change. If people are not on board that it's happening, then people can get quite pessimistic about it, which is not good. So I think the biggest challenge is sometimes to upfront decide how are you going to measure the success is also a big question sometimes, because once you've made the investment and you are towards the end of your project and you're trying to measure is this successful or not, you really haven't anything to go by. So I think benchmarking and making up a process for how to define what is a successful project will really help you then to measure it afterwards as well. And launching it internally and the adoption of the system should definitely feature on that list of criteria. But I think the key is to prepare the receivers of this change, that the change is coming. And that's a very, very big statement. So how do you actually do it? How do you do that? I think there are several ways that you can do it. One is, of course, to start talking about what the challenges are for the people, because that will help you not only in choosing what software to go with and who's going to be delivering that, but also you are actually not just making a change for the sake of change. You're making a change because there's a very, very clear reason to do so. And also the people who are then going to use your new system, they need to be able to voice what their actual challenges are so that they feel that the change is personal to them. You're not just changing the company software because you kind of want to have a new software. There has to be much more tangible reasons for it. So for example, if I'm an admin somewhere and I spend 4 hours a day doing repetitive tasks in a system because I have to do it in 3 different places, that's a very good reasoning for why I'd like maybe a change to happen so that I only do it once in one system. That's a measurable improvement of my day-to-day. Now, if I sit around and do my admin heavy job, and then all of a sudden someone tells me there's a new system from tomorrow, it's great, get on with it. It doesn't become very important that a system that I'm getting is great. I don't know it. I wasn't prepared for the change. I don't know how to use it. I've not been enabled. I just feel lost. I feel like I haven't been listened to. This is just forced on me, disrupting, what I knew. And in fact, the system might be great, but I'm not going to like it because I wasn't made a part of the change. So in order for someone to sit around and think, oh, in 2 weeks, I'm finally going to get that new system. Oh my goodness, I'm so looking forward to it. Of course, they have to be aware that it's happening and they have to know that it is going to help them and how it's going to help them. So the communication of the change already from a very, very early stage, to ask people what the problems are, to then give them maybe some options before you make a selection. Let them say what they would like to have, what do they want, and then you can move forward and address those specific, realistic things that the people have told you. And throughout the entire project of this new implementation, there are good moments when you communicate the ongoing project to keep people engaged, to make them aware that you're working on it, you've reached another milestone. As soon as you have a system that looks anywhere near the ready product, share some screenshots, tell people what it's going to do, include it in communications. You include a little bit of a snippet of how the project's going. Other customers have very much done roadshows. So if it's a global implementation, someone from the core project team who knows the up and coming design very well, they would go around, maybe even travel to different offices, different regions to have chats locally, to make sure that at no time in the project we're losing sight of why we're doing this. And if you do all of that, then by the time you're launching, people are ready for it, they're excited about it, they know what it's going to do for them. You're not just implementing a system, you're creating solutions, and the communication has to be about what you're actually achieving for these people specifically and at the right time and in the right channel as well. That, not to forget, not everyone reads emails, not everyone takes part of the newsletter. And I think if you do all of that, if you get the people's problem statements, you make a promise to address them, you tell them as early as you can in the project how specifically you are, just to have a little checkpoint. We're planning on doing this. Is this fixing your issue? And then by the end of the project, you should have a very, very excited audience for your big launch.
I'm curious, have you seen some, unique client examples who did an outstanding job doing that?
Some really clever ways that I've come across is little things like have a competition about what you should call the system. Seems really simplistic, but actually often has a great effect. People feel that it's a little bit fun. Maybe there's a prize, maybe there's some sort of cred that they get for winning. You can also do that, by the way, later once you've launched, is to almost adopt a little bit of a gamification attitude towards the first maybe few months that you've gone live. The department that has the most logins to the system, or you don't have to actually. You can just say that we will be rewarding people for using the system. You don't have to specify how, but again, depending on the system you're implementing, but it could be like a high usage reward, for example. But it's like an internal marketing of a new system. You're kind of selling it to the people, aren't you? Because you want them to use it. So like any sales, you have to make it a bit attractive. So of course, the design and look and feel of the system has to be nice. You can have people involved in that. Maybe do a couple of designs and send out and have people pick which one they like most. Big, significant and visually different branding change can be really, really efficient. We had a very kind of red branded company that just completely said, well, with this system, we're going to go blue. We're going to have quite sort of informal characters and cartoons, where otherwise that wasn't really their style at all. So it became quite visually, different, and people got, it was going to be fun themes. Definitely kind of fun with your systems. And just get some higher up people on board. I think it's incredibly motivating if the CEO or championing your new system, saying, I can't wait for this. This will be so great for us. Blog it, vlog it, make updates on social media. Even if only your colleagues see it, it still it creates this buzz. And I think companies that have been really good at being a little bit playful with it, not taking it, you obviously take it very seriously. There are very serious KPIs and in the background for any implementation. But I think towards the user base, just be a little bit playful is actually quite, it has an effect, and definitely has worked for those companies that I've seen do it. So definitely don't be afraid of have a little bit of fun with it. And also, of course, not to forget to actually solve problems. I think that's the key communication always. You're not implementing a new software, you are solving problems for the end user, real problems that you've gone to them and asked and found out, and now you are fixing it and making their life so much better with this new system. So that should always be the language towards the end users. The core team can address all the rest of it, all the kind of hard stuff, the actual solutioning of it all, but towards your end users, you're helping them by this change. That's always the statement that works the best in communications and launching and preparing people for your new system.
Marketing your launch internally to build up that excitement and anticipation is absolutely vital part of the process, I see. And I cannot think of anyone better at TalenTeam to talk about this topic. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to share what I've learned.